before we leave your school days, I'm sure you got involved in quite a lot of extracurricular activities. I know I remember you being involved in speech festival, entering, you know, representing the school at speech festivals, and Tess Thomas, the teacher that you mentioned, was very instrumental in that. Tell us a little more about it.
Oh yes, I enjoyed. That was part of my main enjoyment of school, the extracurricular activities. I was not a good sportswoman, but I did play a little tennis, a little netball, and a little hockey, and enjoyed them all. It wasn't helped by the fact that I wore glasses, and I was definitely afraid of breaking the glasses, because my forays into games was very sort of tentative. But I loved drama, I loved speech. Miss Watson was the drama person, and I think I was in every drama festival play that St. Andrew did while I was at school, from the time I was in probably third form. And I remember getting the drama prize when I left school, which is a matter of pride for me. I still have the book with the drama prize. Or did I bring it to the museum? I mean, but I do recall not only the drama, but sports day, and I remember doing slow bicycle race.
Because you used to ride.
I used to ride my bicycle to school, and I did slow bicycle race, which is where you try and keep the cycle. You're on the cycle, and you try and keep it from moving. And the person who doesn't move is the person who wins. And you have to keep the cycle in one position. Slow bicycle race. And so I wasn't a good athlete either, but I was okay in the speech and the drama. I remember being in speech festival and having quite a few certificates from speech festival. I remember some of our plays. One in particular was written by Anne Hickling's mother, Mrs. Kathleen Hickling. Punsi, and Charlene Harris played the part of Punsi, and Faye Smith was her mother. And then I remember we had an operetta, and I was Papageno. It was Papageno. No, it was Papageno. Faye Smith was Papageno, and I was Monastera. It was the magic flute thing. So, I mean, there were so many different areas in which, you know, you were able to spread your wings.
That's right.
In Garchore Cup, I was able to do my embroidery and my crochet and my knitting. I mean, I was able to knit for my children when they were small. I knitted little sweaters for them. I was able to sew clothes for my daughter when she was born, up to when she was 3 in England, and even for myself later, before I got too busy. but it was lovely, these sort of groupings that met in different areas, so that in a way I got to know many more girls than I would have known had I just remained within my classroom and not ventured into these different clubs and activities. I was a proud member of Darling House. I am a proud member of Darling House. Yes. And of course, we worked hard to make sure Darling won Garchore Cup, won sports day. Every point was important. The whole house competition was something which was really very strong and very precious to us in terms of our development, I think.
And now we want to move into the second phase. We know that you have had a long career in education, and let's start from the beginning. You were appointed lecturer and senior lecturer in educational psychology at the School of Education between 1977 and 1987. And then you ventured off into the private sector, being executive director of the Institute of Management and Production between 1987 and 1992. And then you were appointed the regional coordinator of the Center for Gender and Development Studies in 1992 and remained in this post until 1996. After that, you were recognized as the first female to become both deputy principal and principal of the University of the West Indies between the years 1996 up to 2007 when you retired. So you have had a long and distinguished career in education and in teaching.
Long. I have to correct one thing. I was not the first female deputy principal.
Okay.
Woodmerian, Professor Marlene Hamilton, was the first female deputy principal, but I was the first female principal. In the university altogether.
Yeah. Which is a significant landmark, I would think.
Yes, and I'm proud of that, I think. I think that it is a testament to my foundation here at St. Andrew that I was able to assume that role. And also, I think I have to mention, because I think it also contributed greatly to the fact that I was able to go into the university as a lecturer in 1977. I taught for 3 years in England, and that was my first teaching position. And it was a baptism of fire, and I learned so much about myself and about students and about education in those 3 years. And I was able to come back to Jamaica and become science teacher at Meadowbrook High School. And I was at Meadowbrook for almost 10 years, actually, before getting a post at the University of the West Indies. And an interesting anecdote from Meadowbrook High School. Meadowbrook High School was the first principal of Meadowbrook High School was actually Miss Margaret Garcher, who was my principal here. So I go to Meadowbrook High School and I start, and I'm a teacher now. I'm in my high heel shoes and my nice dress, and I'm a teacher, very adult. And Miss Garcher had long gone. The principal was Mr. Warren Thorpe, etc. So I'm walking around the corner, and I go around the corner, and I almost bump into this lady, who is Miss Margaret Garcher. And I have just become a Law 4A student once again, because there's Miss Margaret Garcher, and I'm saying, Miss Garcher. She had come to visit the school, her school, another one of her schools, and she was there. And she was so happy to see me. She didn't remember my name or anything, but she knew I was St. Andrew girl, and we sat and we talked. But it was so difficult for me to get to the point where I could sort of talk to her as though I was not her student. And I also met in those days Miss Dawson, who was my second principal here, and who was also someone who I respected and really loved as a person, because she was so warm. She was a leader like Miss Garcher, but a different style. And she was warm. She was very caring about students. Not that Miss Garcher was not, but they had different ways of showing it. Miss Dawson knew the name of every single girl in the school. And she would stand here and she would see, and she would say, Gail, Marie, Elsa, what's happening there? And this would happen wherever she would see 3 girls. But having come in contact with her again while she was here, I understood a little bit more about her, and all of these people became models for me in education. So when I went to the university as a lecturer, I had all of that, not only my experience with 2 principals, and let us not forget Miss Doris Stockhausen, who was so very strong in personality and strict, but also very caring and compassionate as a person. I had all of those models to bring to my teaching, both in England and at Meadowbrook, and then now at university. So when I had to prepare teachers, I had all these models in my head, and knew whatever the theory said, I could fit them into theories. And I had my concrete examples to be able to share with people who are becoming teachers, make them understand that teaching is not just standing up and talking about content. It is a whole range of behaviors, and you have to assume a whole range of roles in order to be able to do it properly. And this went into administration as well. If you're going to do administration properly, then you have to model the behavior which you want others to copy. That's the other thing. I felt that in the same way that these people are providing models for me, I had now to provide models for them and for the people who I work with. And so this became a responsibility which has followed me through, right through, as a researcher, as a lecturer, as an administrator. In whatever role I have taken an opportunity, I have done my best to mirror the model that I would want to know that is being followed in years to come. So that has been my practice and my